Parisians and tourists watched in horror as the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral burned down. It's difficult to imagine a Paris without the Notre Dame Cathedral, but it looks like that might be our new reality, at least for the next little while. Welcome back to InformOverload. We do the news and we make it entertaining, but occasionally we bring you news that isn't so entertaining. In fact, this news is some of the saddest news I've heard in years. I remember the first time I saw Notre Dame Cathedral. The Hunchback was one of my favorite Disney movies, and being a bit of a gothic architecture buff, it was pretty surreal to see it in person. I was in awe as I watched the huge stained glass windows spill rainbow light onto the floor of the church. It was a beautiful cathedral with so much history, and I feel very lucky to have seen it in person. Let me know your personal experiences with Notre Dame Cathedral down below in those comments, but for now let's get into this story. The Notre Dame Cathedral is one of the greatest architectural treasures in the world. The 12th century church is not only a monument and one of the world's most famous tourist attractions, it's home to countless valuable works of art. But on Monday, the upper reaches of the cathedral caught fire. 400 firefighters mobilized to try and deal with the Notre Dame fire, which was said to have been started by renovations. The cathedral's iconic spire collapsed early Monday evening in Paris. The central spire was built in the 19th century and was being restored thanks to the success of Victor Hugo's novel The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1831. Hundreds of people stood outside and watched and cried as the glorious cathedral was reduced to ruins. The fire sent flames and huge clouds of grey smoke into the Paris sky. The blaze spread to one of the landmark rectangular towers. As of this writing, a spokesman said that the entire wooden frame would likely come down and the vault of the edifice would be under threat as well. A spokesperson also said everything is burning. Nothing will remain from the frame. Well, maybe they spoke too soon, but I'll get to that in a minute. At this time, the cause of the fire isn't known, but according to the Paris Fire Brigade, the fire is potentially linked to a €6 million renovation project on the church's spire and its 250 tons of lead. An investigation has been opened, but as of right now, there are no reported deaths. The fire is being treated as an accident for the time being. Right now, the fire brigade is waiting until the temperature inside the church cools down, which might take several hours. Once the building is safe to enter, an accurate inquiry will be done to figure out how the fire started in the first place. Early Monday night, a senior fire official told journalists that they may not be able to stop the spread of the fire because it was so severe. But thanks to the firefighters who worked tirelessly for hours, it was announced late Monday night that Notre Dame's main structure and towers were saved. Several firefighters managed to enter the cathedral to save some of the priceless works of art from being destroyed, which are being housed at the Louvre Museum for the time being. The Notre Dame Cathedral has been in existence for 850 years. It's pretty crazy to think that this church survived the French Revolution, 2 world wars, and yet it was destroyed by an accidental fire caused by renovations. And if that isn't unlucky enough for you, apparently it burned down on the exact same day as the Boston bombing and also the sinking of the Titanic. That's pretty unlucky. Tourists gave accounts to the media. A 50-year-old onlooker who had visited the cathedral with his family, Sam Ogden, said it was the saddest thing he's ever stood and watched in his life. World leaders shared their responses online and to the press. Pope Francis said that he has seen with shock and sadness the news of the terrible fire that has devastated the Cathedral of Notre Dame, a symbol of Christianity in France and the world. French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted, "Notre Dame is aflame. Great emotion for the whole nation. Our thoughts go out to all Catholics and to the French people. Like all my fellow citizens, I am sad to see this part of us burn tonight." Donald Trump tweeted, "So horrible to watch the massive fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Perhaps flying water tankers could be used to put it out. Must act quickly." The French authorities dismissed his suggestion of using flying water tankers. They tweeted, "All means are being used except for water bombing aircrafts, which if used could lead to the collapse of the entire structure of the cathedral." British Prime Minister Theresa May tweeted that her thoughts were with the people of France and the emergency services who are fighting the terrible blaze at Notre Dame Cathedral. Queen Elizabeth said in a message from Buckingham Palace, "I extend my sincere admiration to the emergency services who have risked their lives to save this important national monument. My thoughts and prayers are with those who worship at the cathedral and all of France at this difficult time." Former US President Barack Obama tweeted a photo of himself and his family inside the cathedral along with the message, "Notre Dame is one of the world's greatest treasures, and we're thinking of the people of France in your time of grief. It is in our nature to mourn when we see history lost, but it's also in our nature to rebuild for tomorrow as strong as we can." As it stands right now, there are plans to rebuild the cathedral. We're going to be doing an entire video on what happens next for Notre Dame, so stay tuned for that. Considering the sad nature of this video, we won't be responding to comments, but instead I would like you to share your personal experiences having visited Notre Dame Cathedral. On behalf of IO, our hearts go out to the French public and everyone affected by this terrible disaster. For now, if you want to keep watching this channel, we've put together a playlist for you that's clickable on your screen, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can see you in a future IO video.